So many things are happening in the world of football that get you laughing, get you excited, get you sometimes puzzled, and you wonder. You ask yourself, why is this happening, or why are the people saying this, or why are people saying that? Because of the way the whole system is. And there are things that I've heard in football in the last couple of days that gets me like, okay, is this analysis? Is this banter? So if I hear things, the way I look at things, if I hear things from fans, football fans, fans are allowed to say anything. I always say that fans are allowed to say anything in favor of their team and against whoever they perceived as their opponent. But then for people who are like, if you're an analyst or you're a content creator, so there's content creator who are content creator just for their clubs. But even at that, you grow in the business and you start knowing that, okay, there's going to be balance in objectivity. When Arsenal beat Real Madrid, people start saying things like, "Oh, this is weak man Real Madrid. That's why they beat them." When Arsenal beat them in 2006, it was the Galactico. Ronaldo da Lima was there, Raul was there, Roberto Carlos was there, Guti was there, Ike Casillas. Everybody that mattered was there. Sometimes some teams are your boogie teams. Arsenal have been playing against the top six teams and doing well, but at the same time struggle against Aston Villa, West Ham, Fulham. Some teams that they shouldn't struggle about. They are their boogie team for now. Everton. So nobody. I'm not, when Arsenal lose to those teams, I'm not going to say, "Oh, it's the weak Arsenal." It's not a weak Arsenal team. It is football. The result on the day, you can only play who is in front of you, and if you win, you take the credit. If you lose, even if you want to be arrogant about yourself and you want to put yourself in a place where you feel like, oh, people shouldn't be saying anything about you, you should be gracious enough to kind of like say, okay, this team beat us today. Because again, it is the basic thing that happened with religious people, church people, where something happens bad is the devil, something happens good, it's God. But you don't have a role in it. You don't take any responsibility to say, "Oh, I did this, I did that." So in football, what I've always said that if you are the kind of person who thinks that, oh, you lost the game because this is your weak team, that team that beat you are not good enough because you're weak, or they were lucky on the day, you also will not be able to analyze the defeat properly. And people don't understand that some of these things that they say gets to the head of their players, and the players will no longer like be feeling like, oh, we're responsible, we owe it to ourselves to have played like this or played like that. I say, oh, it's one of those bad day in the office. And that's why I don't like that kind of comment in football when a team loses against, say, it's a bad day in the office. No, it's because the team you played against on the day was better than you overall, historically. And then now people start bringing his history. Look at Man United. When they lose, we find it strange and funny when their fans come out to say, "Oh, we have won 20 Premier League. We are this, we are that." Yeah, that's yesterday's glory. You were not having the title before. You came out of nowhere and you won it, and we respected you for it. Other people are winning over you now. You should respect them. I think that that's what football is all about. But then let's look at what Arsenal did right over the two legs. And in my own book, I know that Declan Rice won the man of the match in both legs, which is also very, very good because people are beginning to question his price tag and what it brings to the team. And you need the big games like this to really show yourself. That's why I hope that Arsenal is able to beat Paris Saint-Germain, and I hope that Barcelona wins. And the reason for that is the Lamine Yamal and Bukayo Saka conversation needs to also be put to test, because the Vinicius Junior Bukayo Saka conversation have been put to test now this season when they met. I'm not one of those who's going to sit here and say Bukayo Saka is better than Vinicius Junior. Remember, Vinicius Junior won the Champions League last season. So Bukayo Saka still have a long way to go. No matter what he's done, whether he played a Pelanka, a Pananka, or a Plantinka, whatever he played, or side Pananka as one of my guys will call it, the truth of the matter is he's not won anything. And if his career goes like this and end, let's say he's a guy who won nothing. So nothing is won yet. Ateta took the same thing. He's revolutionized the Arsenal team. He's changed the team. He's set the team in a different trajectory, set them in a different direction. And the mentality is different. Arsenal is one of the hardest teams to score against now on the European scene. Before, this kind of match went 5-1. Yeah. Another thing that if you want to look at this Arsenal, you will say, oh, they have over 100 years history. Arsenal have only played in the semi-finals of Champions League twice before. 2009 and 2006. Other than that, it's quarterfinals, round of 16, quarterfinals, round of 16. So in the Champions League, they're not really a big team. I mean, look around you and ask yourself, Inter Milan, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. Let's not even put Real Madrid in the conversation. They are the dean of the Professor Emeritus. All the other teams have played at least 10 times in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Arsenal is just getting into their third semi-final. So in the Champions League, they're a small team. And to get to this place and people still question them and still say things, it's funny. I think that they should be giving credit on the individual merit of what they did. So let's talk about what worked for them. I think that Arsenal have players in their team that ran more than Real Madrid. Real Madrid have three players in their team that, even though they were fast, Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Vinicius, faster than any player in the Arsenal team, they were not involved in play when they are not with the ball. When they are not progressing forward, they're not involved in the play, they're not defending, they're not tracking back. It's none of their business. So that helped Arsenal because Bukayo Saka and Martinelli, apart from taking the ball and driving it forward and trying to create chances, every time they lost the ball, they were tracking back, they were marking into the midfield and also getting to help their fullback in Miles Lewis Kelly and Julian Timbers, who were also very, very solid, disciplined, tactically disciplined, positional discipline in the course of both legs. Now, take that away, remove those parts as a component. Again, that means that what's it called? Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, and Miles Kelly, as well as Johan Timbers, is eliminating four people, two on this side, two on this side. The remaining ones again is in the middle. When Arsenal goes on to attack and they lose the ball, Mikel Merino, who is naturally a midfielder, central CDM or central midfielder, knows that he has to come back into his natural habitat. Again, he comes in and add one more body to that midfield against the Madrid midfielders who gets the ball, but because they are quickly crowded over by the Arsenal players, it's hard for them to see where they will make their penetrating passes. So that's how I think, this is my opinion, that's how I think Arsenal won the game. The game against between Paris Saint-Germain and Aston Villa, it threw up a lot of questions. Because when I watched the Liverpool versus Paris Saint-Germain, I thought that was an evenly balanced game. Liverpool was the better side in Paris, and then Paris Saint-Germain was the better side at Anfield. But having said that, when I saw what they played in the first leg, 3-1 against Aston Villa, I thought, wow, this team is good. They have control. They have young players. They don't have over-bloated ego in the squad. Everybody wants to do well. And you know, the injection compared to when they played Arsenal and lost 2-0, the injection of Farastella and the form of the consistency of Dembele, we never expected that. Okay, there was the potential, but nobody expected him to be this good. Also now added to it. But against Aston Villa, I discovered one thing about Paris Saint-Germain. Historically anyway, not today, historically, English league players run faster than any other league. Just the same way Spanish league players play more technically than any other league. Italian players, you know, of Italian league play more tactical, okay, tactical football than any other league. German combine tactics and techniques and speed as well. So when you look at that game, Aston Villa game, in the second half, Paris Saint-Germain had burnt out at Villa Park. And Aston Villa was running them ragged. And if you go to the Europa game yesterday, it was the same thing. When it seems like Manchester United were dying, their speed came to the party. What's it called? Leon players could not comprehend what was happening, and it was happening too fast. The speed, the transition to Casemiro, the cross to the hammerhead guy, Harry Maguire, who sang a redemption song, were too fast and too quick for their ability to comprehend. Long story short, there is speed in English game. I know that Arsenal is a combination of that Spanish flair, short passes here and there, like the Pep Guardiola team, and then the speed of the English game with Martinelli, who is a Brazilian but more like an English player, and Bukayo Saka. And if you pull that together, which will be done in the subsequent analysis, this talk of Paris Saint-Germain will beat Arsenal is the same thing people said about Madrid beating Arsenal. Remember, before the match, nobody, not even Arsenal fans, gave Arsenal a chance. Not to talk of Arsenal winning Madrid 5-1. So this talk of now, oh, Madrid was a weak team, Arsenal beat a weak Madrid team, they shouldn't brag about it. Yes, I agree, nothing is won yet. If you go on to lose over 2 legs and get knocked out by Paris Saint-Germain, all of this celebration is useless. It's another bad season again, and everybody will forget whether you beat Madrid. The goal is to win the trophy. I'm looking forward to whether they play against Inter Milan or they play against Barcelona, whoever it is. I'm also thinking that the history behind Munich would work in favor of Arsenal in this one. I think that I can fancy Arsenal's chance of going through over two leg against Paris Saint Germain. I don't know what you think. You can put what your thoughts are in the comment section. Having said that, I also think that between Inter Milan and Barcelona, there's just this thing where you remember 2009, 2010, how Inter Milan ghosted past Barcelona and went on to the finals to beat Bayern Munich, Jose Mourinho's treble winning squad, all of that. I think that sometimes in football, when you have a group of players who have something to prove, it's always difficult to break them down and beat them. And then Barcelona, with their coach Hansi Flick, does seems like a guy who has something to prove. Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Nico, what's it called? The midfielder, Gavi, Pedri, and the rest of them. They still think that they have something to prove. People don't read them that much. That also would inspire them to go do whatever they want to do. So, as much as Inter Milan have been very, very tactical, very, very solid defensively as a unit, one of the best in the Champions League, I just think that Barcelona would run them ragged. It would look like the Euros finals between England and Spain. Attack would always prevail over defense. Paris Saint-Germain versus Arsenal. We will still do another video where we would have that conversation. I think that it's going to be very difficult, but remember that the strength of Paris Saint-Germain is one, Vitinha in the midfield, Farastella wide, Dembele wide. So if Arsenal would double up and run the way they ran against PSV, the way they ran against Real Madrid, I think that they would stand a chance. Because again, don't forget, yes, Paris Saint-Germain have one thing going for them that lots of the teams that Arsenal have played this season don't have. They shoot from anywhere, and that's always a problem. When you shoot from anywhere, it can be deflected, it can hit the hand, it can cause a lot of problem. And then Thomas Partey not playing could also be a problem. But let me ask you guys, let me leave it to you guys. In all honesty, Arsenal have scored as much goal as any other team in this competition. Only Barcelona have scored more than them. Is there one weakness in the Arsenal team that makes anybody think that they cannot get past Paris Saint-Germain? You can mention in the comment section what you think. What's the weakness in the Arsenal team? Okay, because in my own opinion, I think that Arteta have learned. He's done some things that normally he wouldn't do. That's not customary to Arsenal teams. He doesn't play every team the same way, and that's one of the things that I love the most in football. If you have a coach who understands that, if you look the way we played at the Emirates, it's not the same way we played when we went to the Bernabeu. And then again, we didn't get caught up in the media web and all the noise and all that. It was very, very nice. What do you think that you can see or call the weakness in the Arsenal team? Now, let me jump away from that. There's been some rumors that are coming up. Yeah, we all know that Carlo Ancelotti will leave at the end of the season. Some people saying he should retire. Some other people say he should go to Brazil and coach Brazil. I don't know how that would happen. I'm not really one who like to see a foreign coach in the dugout for Brazil. I think that Brazil are still football kings and gods in football. And I mean, Zeus is Greek. He should stay Greek. That's the way I see it. Brazilian coaches should still coach the Brazilian national team, but I want to get your take. But then there is this merry-go-round. Osimhen to Manchester United, Osimhen to Chelsea, Osimhen to Fenerbahçe. Osimhen to Fenerbahçe is worrisome because how would the Galatasaray fans respond to him? How would the Fenerbahçe fans also receive him? That's one first. And if that also happens, is that progress on his career? I mean, until Nigerians start thinking that scoring 30 goals in Turkish league is a great thing, I've never thought that going to Turkey is a great thing. I thought that Turkey is either a place to start or to end your career. People like Tony Wakeme have scored more goals in the Turkish league than Osimhen, if my numbers are right. We didn't pick it up like this. Henry Yekuru, some weaker players, even Paul Nwachu, they've gone to Turkey and scored goals. So it's not really a big deal. To not say what was meant to be a transit station, it's not a permanent destination, it's worrisome. The thought of it is worrisome. I may not be a big Osimhen fan anymore, but I wanted to see him in the big league. I want to see him in the Champions League again. I want to see him play in the English Premier League. Now, there's also the talk of him going to Manchester United. And the problem with that idea is, which Manchester United team is he going to play for? Manchester United did very well last night. We will talk about that one in another video. But what if Man United doesn't make it to the Champions League? What if they don't even qualify for UEFA Europa Cup or the Conference League? Osimhen will go to Manchester United and just be struggling to get them up with a team that we don't even know who's going to be in midfield, who's going to be defense. We don't even know if the coach will stay on for long. This team have not won consecutive games, and that's a new pattern, a new system that they have built for themselves. So that's another part that you need to look at. Then, having said that, the talk of going to Chelsea, I think if it comes to Chelsea, he's glove to the hand, he perfectly fits, and they will now need to build the team around him, build players behind him that will supply him the ball, put the ball on the channel for him, put the ball on the channel, cross the ball into the box, and then Osimhen will deliver. Osimhen is a good goal scorer. That's an insult to even ask. A great goal scorer, a fantastic goal scorer. Give him the ball, he will score for you. He doesn't need 5 chances to score one anymore. Osimhen needs 2 chances to score one, which is very, very good for a striker. But I just think that this next transfer window, his decision making, his manager, if he's still calendar that's still his manager, would speak a lot about his career. Because if at the end of the day he chooses to stay in Turkey again, I think that that's the end of the road, because if he stays for another year on loan, it will be funny to me for a player who's regarded as one of the hottest striker at the moment to stay 2 seasons on loan. That would be terrible. If he decides to go to Saudi Arabia, I will not begrudge him. That will be his career choice. I will know, okay, he's going there for more money to secure his future. He's done with football. That's fine. But if he wants to move and he goes to Fenerbahçe, me, I will consider that haram. Either ways, I don't have any problem with Fenerbahçe, but I don't think that Osimhen moving from Galatasaray to Fenerbahçe would be a good deal. Yeah, now this is me saying that if he had gone to Fenerbahçe on loan and they say he's going to Galatasaray, I would say the same thing. I'm not saying those two clubs are bad, but I think that Osimhen is too good, too fantastic to continue his career playing in Turkey. I still think that he should have one big shot coming back to mainstream Europe, playing in England or Germany, or even if he needs to go to Juventus in Italy. I know nobody wants him in Italy. Probably go to Spain. There are still clubs in Spain. Atletico Madrid could still sign him and he will go there, go battle for something. He could also turn things around and win the league title for them. But to say go to Fenerbahce or Manchester United, damn, that's crazy, especially if Manchester United doesn't make it to the Champions League. I don't know. Anyway, this is my thought. Please share me your thought, what you think about all of these things that we've had today. Thank you.